57.
Count Corla, and my first of two questions here together is to ask the Minister about progress on secondary school extensions, but I would like to take the opportunity to congratulate the Minister, who I consider a good friend, on his elevation to this full Cabinet position, a position I believe he's well capable of handling from his experience from his time in the House here. It's a huge honour for him and his family, and a testament to the work he's done as a Teachta Dála here representing Donegal up to now for such an elevation, and I look forward to working with him and making him very aware of all the challenges we face in South Kildare, County Corla, in terms of education.
Thank you. Thanks, Deputy, and appreciate your kind words there as well, and I look forward to working with you on a number of important elements of education as well, and no doubt the Camp Corla will be very interested in a number of these issues as well. Spirit and certain. I propose to take PQ 67 and 68 together, if that's okay, Camp Corla.
No, it's 56.
Sorry.
56 and 57. You're getting.
Sorry, I'm on a different. Yeah, I'm on a. They're different. Sorry, they're different numbers, but we're on the right.
Are we doing them together because they are kind of two separate issues, extensions?
Well, the Minister says he's doing them together.
As the Deputy will be aware, my department is currently advancing building projects in a number of post-primary schools in the South Kildare school planning areas, and these projects, when completed, will provide additional capacity in the region of 1,700 school places. For the Deputy's information, the current status of the projects is as follows. On St Conleth's Community College, Newbridge, the project is on site and is due to be completed shortly. Athy Community College, Athy, the project brief has been completed and the project has been devolved to Kildare and Wicklow ETB for delivery. Cross and Passion Secondary School, Kilcullen, the project is at project brief stage. Patrician College, Newbridge, the project is at project brief stage. And St Paul's Secondary School, Monasterevin, the project is at stage 2B, detailed design stage. Minister Bruton recently announced plans for the establishment of 42 new schools over the next 4 years, 19 to 22. In addition to the new schools announced, there will be a need for further school accommodation in other areas in the future. While this announcement did not include a new post-primary school in the South Kildare school planning areas, a review of provision at post-primary school level across the school planning areas in South Kildare is now well advanced, and the outcome will be made available by the end of October. This review will include an assessment of the extent to which projected needs in the area will be met from the additional capacity being provided by the projects already approved, and how any specific additional needs will be best catered for, recognising the importance of maintaining a balance between existing and any additional school provision.
Thank the Minister for his response, and the fact that the questions are grouped, I have a fair few points I want to make, so I'll stick to the extensions in my first supplementary. St Paul's School in Monasterevin, as the County Corla will be well aware, is a school programme, Minister, that has been onset by numerous delays, not all caused by the Department of Education. There are pre-qualification of contractors process, but we need to ensure there is no delay in moving to tender, and I reassured parents this week that the change in ministerial ministers won't have any impact on that, and that the department will stand ready, and I'll stay in touch with you on that one, as I'm sure the County Corla will as well. Athy Community College has been devolved and a service level agreement established with the Kildare ETB, Kildare Wicklow ETB. They're at 440 pupils now for a school that was built for 400. It needs to go to 1,000. There's prefabs on site. There's more coming, and there is significant pressure, so we can't have a delay there. The patricians in Newbridge is delighted to see that go to the NDFA. Next step is planning and design, but again we need to keep pressure on, because pressure in the Newbridge Kildare area is really significant in those places. And for St Conleth's, there has been a delay in the opening of the extension. It's had a particular impact on 6 pupils with between mild and moderate intellectual special educational needs, and this is causing huge distress. Officials in your department made a point previously that they would stand with the parents if there was any delays. What they've been offered to date, and County Corla and other public representatives in the area have worked on this as well, home tuition where the parents have to find the tutor isn't sufficient. Huge distress has been put on those parents who thought they'd have the space in September. In fairness to the principal of the school, it's not her fault. She's doing her best to manage what is a very difficult situation, but I would ask that the special education section of your department would give every support to those parents, and we try and get those 6 pupils into their special accommodation as soon as possible.
there's a number of individual schools there, and can I just say one thing in regard to the current ongoing building programme and capital plan? One thing I've learned in a very short while in the job, I can't walk from one end of the corridor to another without meeting a TD or a senator and is looking for information on a project within the capital plan. Now, in fairness, Minister Bruton has introduced a communication system. The different stages of the projects are on the website, and it's important that we can communicate any changes in that regard. In relation to the specific schools, if there are any if there's any further information needed, if your colleagues in the Kildare constituency need to sit down with one of the officials within the building unit, I'm happy to organise that as well.
I thank the Minister for that, and this is our opening shot where I make you familiar with the schools in South Kildare, and we will continue to brief you on the impact of pressures on spaces on the ground as they develop. In terms of your original response regarding a review of overall demographics of Kildare and pressure on spaces, I welcome that. I welcome the fact that we're very close to a final announcement on the need for increased provision beyond these extensions. And South Kildare Educate Together was a campaign established in 2014, and since that time we've had meetings with two Taoiseach, two Ministers for Education and Department officials. Joe, you're Minister number 3, and we still haven't gone away, and there's a huge demand from parents who have children in primary level that we can get improved provision of choice at second level school in Kildare South as well. The department shouldn't be surprised for this demand. 2 primary schools were opened at Educate Together a number of years ago in South Kildare, and the Educate Together primary school in Kildare Town this year for the first time has a 6th class, and those parents went to Portlaoise to look at a second level Educate Together school because they don't have that option in Kildare South, and I think that does need to be addressed. A new school in its own self and all the decisions would need to be made around the patronage process and site selection and acquisition would take an awful long time, and the pressure that I believe that your review in your department will show that we don't have that level of time. And I'm on the record over 2 years ago as having said that I believe one very good fit here to work with the Educate Together campaign and also to address these issues of pressure on spaces would be to look at the Curragh Post-Primary, which is a school that absolutely deserves a new building. It's we have a great staff and great students working in very difficult circumstances, and I believe a partnership or joint patronage process with Educate Together and a new school building for the Curragh could deliver that increased capacity in an area between 2 very big towns that are at bursting point in Kildare Town and Newbridge. It could attract pupils from primary schools like at Garvan, Ballysacks, Suncroft and many more in that area that presently all go in and feed into those towns. It would rejuvenate that area. It would be an absolute shot in the arm, but very well due to the staff and students of that school. And irrespective of where that site is, whether the Department of Defence work with us on provision of a new site on camp or whether we have a new site outside of the Curragh in the surrounding areas, I think that is probably the most common sense approach that would give us that increased capacity as quick as possible. And I have no doubt that the figures that have come back to your officials from the most recent figures compiled at the end of September of this year will show that the pressure that myself, the Count Corla and other public representatives have expressed here over the last number of years in Kildare South is very real and will not be met by the extensions that are proposed alone.
Minister, to conclude on these 2 questions.
Yeah, look, I think your observation that the review of the provision of post-primary school in the general school planning areas of South Kildare is important. Look, it is well advanced, and I'll certainly make that available by the end of October. And demographics is the research tool with regard to where accommodation need is prioritised. And if we go back to 2011, when Minister Rory Quinn was in developing his 16 to 21 plan, it was very much based, the measurement was where are the population pressures. My predecessor, Richard Bruton, overseen that capital programme starting in 16. We're still in that space, 16 to 21, but we do have a trajectory now over 10 years where we have an €8.4 billion capital fund, which is double in size to the 10 years prior to the National Development Plan timeframe that we're envisaging. So, look, I'll keep you updated, and I'll ensure that the commitment here given today that the review will be made at the end of October will be made at the end of October.
Mr.